What's up, Ravens fans? It's time for this week's edition of Ravens Mailbag, and free agency is right around the corner. So that's where we'll start this edition of our mailbag. People are already starting to talk about this. Troy Russell wants to know, with the Giants releasing wide receiver Victor Cruz. You knew this one was coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
You knew it was coming. Do you think the Ravens will reach out and try to pick him up?
He's a player that I think they'll at least kick the tires on. I mean, here's a guy who only 4 years ago was putting up 1,000 yards per season. In 2011, he put up 1,500 yards. Then 1,000 after that, then nearly 1,000. So now injuries have derailed his career a little bit, but last year he bounced back, put up a solid season, 39 catches, around 500 some yards. That's not bad. And the reason I like Victor Cruz and think he could be a fit for the Ravens is you could sign him to be a slot wide receiver. And the Ravens have really been looking for that slot wide out for a few years, I feel like. Michael Campanaro could have been it, but he's had injury problems of his own. Victor Cruz could step in immediately, be your number 3 with Mike Wallace, Brashad Perryman playing on the outside. And if one of those two guys had injuries or just wasn't stepping up to the plate as a starter, Victor Cruz has shown he can be that reliable guy. So I think that'd be a pretty nice little three-headed monster right there at wide receiver. Not saying they will sign Victor Cruz and whatnot, but I think it is a guy that you'll at least explore that option and see how things play out.
The question to me is, in terms of kicking the tires, is how much interest he generates on the market. He could have a team that wants to make a splash in free agency and bring in a big-name guy that is willing to offer him some more money, that is willing to kind of roll out the red carpet a little bit. Are the Ravens going to be willing to do that?
Right. Yeah, I don't know that he's going to get a huge contract unless you're paying him for his salsa skills. Bring those to Baltimore.
He's got much better salsa skills than you do. All right, next question. This one is from Molten Hawk. Came to us from Twitter. He asks, Crockett Gilmore tells the other tight ends on the team to pound sand. Does that mean that we are losing Dennis Pitta? Well, Molten, I'd say this. Crockett can really say whatever he wants. He can tell the other tight ends, enjoy the bench, I'm going to be starting all this. He's not the one deciding who's on the team and who's not on the team. If Ozzie Newsome had said that, that would be a different story, obviously. So Crockett, his focus is trying to get on the field. First of all, I think that Dennis Pitta is going to be on this team next season. He led the NFL in terms of catches for a tight end last year. He's one of the most reliable targets on the team. Everybody knows that he's a security blanket for Joe Flacco. And he showed last year that he can still play at a high level even after having 2 major hip procedures. So I think that Dennis Pitta is going to be back. I expect him to be the starting tight end next season. And no matter what any other tight end says, I think the competition is good. Yeah. You know, I like the competition. I like that Crockett Gilmore wants to put himself on the field. But just because he said that doesn't have any indication in terms of what's going to happen with Dennis Pitta.
Well, Crockett Gilmore is not one to shy away from making bold statements, is he?
No, he said last year that the Ravens have the best tight end group in the entire league. Yeah. He's a confident guy. Yeah, I like the confidence.
Exactly. The last question comes from Matt Luray, and Matt asks, who among the young players injured last season will have the biggest impact in 2017? Bronson Kafusi, Willie Henry, Maurice Canady, or Carl Davis? Well, I'd probably point to Bronson Kafusi, the 3rd-round pick from last year. You look at it, and this is a name that's kind of flying under the radar in terms of Ravens free agents, but Lawrence Guy. He's an unrestricted free agent next season. He was a starter for the Ravens all last season at defensive end. So who's going to step into that place? Well, Brent Urban's definitely going to be in the mix, but I think Bronson Kafusi is going to be a major player in there as well. I mean, here's a guy, he's a little bit older of a prospect. He's a little bit more polished. I think the Ravens are relying on him to step in and make an instant impact. He's mammoth, big guy. He can get after the quarterback. So yeah, I like him. And I'd also throw out Canady. I thought he was really impressive over the summer before he had his injury, which was a major setback. The Ravens are looking for more depth at cornerback. I think he could step up and be an option there.
And Carl Davis is another former 3rd-round pick. He's going to be competing with Bronson Kafusi for that spot as well.
Well, and if Brandon Williams doesn't come back, I think Carl Davis has a bigger role.
Yep, absolutely. So that's all the questions that we have time for this week, but we love hearing from you guys, so send in those questions on social media using the hashtag RavensMailbag. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great rest of your day.